That was my opinion of the general plan, but I could have voted on that one. I think we were tired of fighting. This was like the last parcel, and we had like a 30-40 minute debate on just this parcel.
Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, Lisa.
And if we did, we would never do it without, which they added.
Hey, sounds like we're on.
We're live.
Okay, we would like to welcome everyone to South Weber City Council meeting this evening at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July the 23rd, 2024. We'll begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Petty and a prayer by Councilman Halverson.
Please stand and repeat the pledge with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee this evening, we're so very grateful for the opportunity we have to meet here as members of the city and neighbors and friends. And we ask for Thy blessing and Thy Spirit to be with us, that we may be able to discuss the needs of our city and that we may be able to understand the issues before us and be able to discuss them in a cooperative manner, and that we might be able to come to resolution and make good decisions. Father, we're thankful for all of our armed forces and our firefighters and all those who serve to protect us. Watch over them, protect them and their families. Again, we're thankful for the country which we live in. We say things in the name of the Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Angie and Blair. We'll begin then with public comments. If you have some public comments, we'd ask you to respectfully come up to the microphone, state your name and your city, and direct your comments to the entire council. We'll turn the time to public comments. Anyone? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on with our consent agenda. We need to approve our consent agenda consisting of June 25th, 2024 minutes. Any changes to the minutes? If not, we'll look for a motion to approve.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item, public hearing for surplus property at approximately 6050 East, 6980 South. We'll look for a motion to open this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is open. Anyone have comments they would like to make pertaining to the public hearing? Please come forward.
I'm Nick Smith. I reside on Canyon Meadows Drive. I'm actually just east of that property. And then we have Tim Graham and then Sam Martinez. And then we're all here and interested in purchasing the surplus land, splitting it between the three of us along the property lines and see how it'd be divided.
Okay.
So, yeah. I guess Lucas Mann and three of his other neighbors bought some across the street to the
Correct.
south. And they bought it for, I believe $1.66 a square foot. We're just wondering what the process would be if this is something that's gonna, if we could purchase that, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Tim Graham. I'm next door to Nick Smith along Canyon Meadows, just east of that property. The other question I had about it is in your little photo you sent out, there's another triangle here. I didn't know if sometime in the future, if the city would also be considering that as surplus land. Hoping that sooner or later, if I was gonna move fences, I would move them once and not twice, but I don't know that. And then also was noticing that there's a big cement pole in the middle of the property would be buying, and didn't know how that would affect the price of the land, if it would be less or the same, you know, with the large cement power pole resides there. So. that's what
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm Samuel Martinez and I live west of that area that you guys have noted there. And I just want to second everything that these guys said. So I'm interested also.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, anyone else?
My name is Minor Crandall. I'm known as Mike Crandall. I live by the school at the South Weaver Elementary School. And I've been a resident of South Weaver City for over 40 years. I had a first burglary 10 years ago. Since then, I had 3,000 break-ins. I have contacted Davis County Sheriff's Office, filed 22 report. Still continue. I had last burglary happened 4 days ago. And no one seemed to, my neighbor doesn't seem to notice that because they were involved in it.
Okay,
I happened to witness something that government, illegal activity in the government. And since then, I have been retaliated. I think it's part of that. My mother, I take care of my elderly mother, 95, she with a dementia. They know her condition. They'll walk right in. She's terrified.
okay.
And law cannot do anything. I was wondering, maybe you guys can help me out,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments on this public hearing? Seeing none, we'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 24-23, declaration of surplus property at approximately 6050 East, 6980 South. Discussions on this?
Did we want to answer some of the questions during that time? The triangle, for
The
example?
triangle piece, at one time when we looked at all of these parcels and was considering putting them up for sale. And we determined that triangle piece for now, city wants to hang on to that. We've got some thoughts with that piece of property, so we're gonna hang on to that. And so we're just declaring these two pieces that we would be willing to depart with. And I'm sure it'll follow the same outline as that other parcel that we sold. So,
And the square footage just included the overall square footage. It didn't deduct for the power pole. Just similar to what it would have been if it was in the, these should have been included in the subdivision anyway, originally. So.
okay, no further discussion. We'll look for a motion on this.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution 24-23, declaration of surplus property at approximately 650 East, 6980 South.
Seconded.
Second by Jeremy. Do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. Next
So-
item,
Question just
okay?
for clarification for all those who are here. So the next step is that we receive, isn't that correct? That we can receive offers on the property now that is deemed surplus?
Mhm.
For those of you who are asking, and That's how that works. So it's now deemed surplus. The city can receive offers for that piece of property.
Thank you, Blair.
And they should talk to David Larson.
Mhm.
Next item, resolution 2424, assigning clerk check signers for the city banking account. We've had some turnover in our staff, and we've got some new employees that we need to put on the signature card at the bank. And so we're needing to make a resolution to add those names. So, discussion on this?
Yeah, I was curious as to why we couldn't have the mayor be one of the signatures.
I don't know. That's never been brought up before.
I would propose that we add the mayor in lieu of one of the other names.
Mayor already does sign most or all the contracts for the city, so I don't see any reason why not to.
Jamie, why don't you address this?
You're allowed to be a signer.
That's our lawyer.
Okay, I have no objections. I mean, it's. What's that, Lisa?
Who did you want to change?
Or can we
So
just
do we,
add, how about
can we just
adding it?
add an extra one? Just
Yes.
add the fifth one?
That's what I would prefer.
Yeah, I don't know that we would want to take anyone off. Just add.
Is Dave one of the signatures?
What's that?
Is Dave? Yeah,
Yeah.
city manager is.
He's on there.
He's not here today. So
You can take him off.
Yeah.
check that one in.
He would prefer that.
Just
Okay.
trying to curtail executive power.
Okay, adding that name. Someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, make a motion to approve resolution 2424, assigning check signers for the city bank account with the addition of additional signature of the mayor, Rob Westbrook.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Motion and a second. We'll begin with a roll call vote. Councilman Wynn.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item, ordinance 2024-09, amending zoning map, changing parcel 13-006-0020 from agricultural to a multifamily residential R5. Any discussion on this? Is someone here representing?
Lance, do you want to give a recap of
Lance, would you like to
that?
do that? And then after Lance, if you'd like to make a comment.
So the planning commission held a meeting on July 11th. They had a good discussion about what the general plan's vision of this area was, that this property was discussed quite a bit in the past in other general plan discussions. It's 2.2 acres and the general plan calls it out for residential moderate density, which in the city is 2 to 4 units per acre. The R5 would be above that. There's a give and take in the discussion, a very good discussion about, how much do we want there? What else could we do with the property? What's the long-term vision for the city? And it ended with, after a vigorous discussion, 3-2 vote in favor of the rezone, recommending rezone to you as the council. I really think the main issue is that were there other better uses that they'd like to see in that area, and the density, the concern was the density of multifamily housing would be too much.
Okay.
My name is Chris Cave. I'm from Rubin Associates. I'm representing Shane Turner. I just have a couple of items that the planning commission was interested in having. Just wanted to share with you guys. One is we put the map that you have doesn't have the no build. Can I hand these to you guys?
Yeah.
So this has the UDOT in red, has the UDOT no access line. Emailed this to Lance earlier today. And then also, they want us to do a projected traffic impact letter. It should be here. My cell phone and my watch both died about a half hour ago. So, we did just a like a preliminary traffic report. Basically, what it says is with the increase, the existing home, the Cooper's home would stay there. He would remodel that. And then with the 10 additional townhouses on the side of it, there would be 6 a.m. in peak hour. There'd be 6 a.m. including the house and 7 p.m. including the house. 7 in the p.m. Traffic impact. And then also, I don't know if you got the picture of, this is just a conceptual of what Mr. Turner is looking to put in there. One of the concerns that Lance had on when we met with him is that they wouldn't look like the townhouses that are directly behind this property.
Thank you.
So this is an idea of what Shane is planning to build on the property. Like Lance said, there was a bit of discussion about the zoning and the amount of units on the property. With the one access, it'd be really hard to put residential lots on there because the driveways can't come out on 475. Because he just has that one access down at the bottom, which is where we aligned our access road with. The roadway that we're showing on the plan has fire hammerhead turnaround built into it, parking on the east side of it. We pulled it down away from the hillside that comes off of 475. Mr. Turner had worked with UDOT for about 2 years to purchase that property. And then he worked with, I believe he bought the remnant parcel from Mike Ford, just so that he could get up over the 2 acres because there's a 2 acre minimum in the what was R7 but is now R5 zoning. So he's gone to a lot of work to try to get this put together and get something on here that makes sense. With the townhouses behind it, and then also with the RV park going, or RV retailer going across the street from it, we just kind of feel like it's kind of logical to do something that would not only be beautiful as far as you can see on those elevations, but it's kind of an entry piece. And the houses would be kind of set back from the road. We left a lot of space in the rear, so there'd be open space for the residents that live in there. And so with that, if you guys have questions or want to go over anything else, I'm here to answer questions.
Real quickly, the UDOT no access line. So you're saying the red dotted line or red dash line on there is where UDOT has said from the freeway off ramp, they don't want any roads going into it.
Yeah, it's on their roadway drawings. There's a no access line up to about just past that white building you see north of the driveway of the roadway going in.
Okay, so the road that we have on here will still be connecting onto 475, right?
Yeah, because of the roadway that's required in the R5 zone, it's that piece that goes out to Old Maple Road isn't wide enough to get a road through there.
How wide is that right there where it necks down? Do you know?
We weren't able to get it through there with removing one sidewalk on one side of the road. It was a couple feet short of that.
Okay.
So there was no way to meet the roadway standard on that. But we did push it as far south as we could. It also allows for the Cooper home to remain there and also be remodeled and sold off.
I'm kind of surprised Reeve and Associates decided that there would be negligible impact to traffic. Do you know what kind of study they did? Was it just a count?
averaging from that type of use and the number of units.
Because yeah, that's still, we're going into the freeway on ramp and off ramp. Majority of the city going through that, and then to have yet another Old Maple Road right so close to it, to say that that has negligible impact on it is kind of surprising, especially when, like you were saying, across the street from General RV, who is going to be pretty busy from 5 to 7, I would be assuming, on most days.
Yeah, and I think what the letter is saying is that's the impact that this development would have on 475.
Yeah, I'm not putting much weight into it right now.
Okay.
Well, if I'll go on and start. First of all, I believe in the general plan. A previous city council voted and accepted it. A previous planning commission approved it, accepted it, worked hours and hours and days, and I don't even know how long the council had to go through on it, but it was multiple reiterations of it. And when they suggested at that time, without even knowing General RV across the street, was that this was currently agricultural and would go up to a moderate. And I've seen really no reason to change that. I see taking it up to moderate would be fine. I actually believe that as the PC has already stated, there's much better uses for it, especially right there at a entrance to the city, freeway, on-ramp, off-ramp, and going up into South Ogden there. And then putting such a major retailer right there, I just see that there could be much better use for the city as a tax base to be able to have something to kind of balance off what the citizens have to take care of. But I think going up to an R5 even, and especially looking at the size of these, we're looking again, and I know this is just a preliminary, but it's already kind of showing, we're going to be on the same small width that we've talked about on every other townhome, with garages being small, with the entryway being just up there at the front. And I do love the picture. I do think that any type of project should have that kind of look and feel to it, especially with those pretty trees. Yeah, just I think the density of population, considering the apartment, or not the apartments, but the townhomes behind it, that huge area. I mean, we're talking a lot of kids, and seeing all of those kids from that area, from this neighborhood over here, and all of them learning to drive, I really hesitate to change this up to anything above moderate. So that's just my opinion.
So when you say moderate, you're saying 2 to 4 units an acre?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
2 to 4, and that's, so one of them would be the existing home.
Mhm.
And there was, at the end of the general plan discussion, for those of you who were involved with it, there was probably 45 minutes to an hour discussed on this piece of property loan. Myself thought it should be commercial. I was outvoted. But I mean, I really struggle with high density there. The one question I have, and maybe I don't know if this is something, will UDOT even allow that many more residents to come out right there onto 475? Because at one time we were told, and this is going back to when that was a much larger piece of property, that you couldn't come out there with UDOT.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Part of our due diligence will be, we'll have to meet with UDOT again. Like I said, it took Shane 2 years to buy that piece of property. I do know that they won't allow any accesses but one. So no matter what use we put down in there, it would have to be whatever the number of units is, would have to access from one driveway. So whatever is down there. Also, with commercial, he's tried to get a couple of gas stations to look at it. It's not big enough. It's not
Yeah.
deep enough. It only has one access. So it really would be difficult as a gas station.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else you would put there.
And we did have a presentation on a different commercial application for it.
Yeah, like the mix or the live work, right? Like the, yeah. I mean, is that something would you rather see it go commercial?
I mean, from my standpoint, I would, yes.
I would.
But I don't know where the rest of the council stands. I mean, because that was my point even when we discussed the general plan. Because I didn't want to have more right there at an off ramp where it's all coming out onto 475. I wasn't in favor of that. Because I knew between where the power station, what they currently call the Buffalo Pin, there's only, I bet you're 45 feet. I was trying to measure it just now and it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's probably about 50.
Is it about, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm with you, Blair. I think a flex zone like we were presented before, I think that would be my preference, something along those lines.
So would we have to do a general plan amendment to make that work?
Or development agreement, correct?
Yeah.
But again, you guys you'd be in favor of having that type of use there, more of those flex spaces?
Yes, I would be.
Or commercial. I just don't feel like this is the best use. I mean, this is a tricky property to say the least,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah,
I feel like
it
that
can't
use would be better.
moderate residence. It can't be like houses because there's no driveways. There's
Right.
there's no frontage.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a tricky piece. We don't have a lot of commercial in South Weaver. I think we would all lean towards commercial more than we would this. I think with the general RV coming in there, I think that's going to be a draw to bring other commercial in there. I could see, they're going to be employing, what they say, 80 to 100 people over there.
Yeah,
So
it's a big building.
I think that there's going to be a need for some commercial there.
Okay, well, I think probably I don't know what the process would be. Like, do you table it? I go back to Shane, because Shane's on here, but I don't think he has audio. So I don't know like what we do as far as an action.
Well, I think when we talked about this before, I think one of the big things that we as a city, and I think most everyone on the city council, this is a very important piece for us to be successful. We want to see whatever goes here to be able to not just survive and muddle through, but we really want it to be able to be successful. So at least on the city side, we're looking at what can go here and more than willing to work with whoever wants, to develop something that can do that. But we just, it's kind of changed. And as the new general plan was about ready to come up, that was one of the areas that I was definitely going to be pushing back for, was whether it was commercial or kind of a new neighborhood commercial that we're looking at, which has a lot of the smaller shops and stuff. But yeah, right across from there is definitely going to be a good area for it. But I really do like what plans y'all have done. I mean, this has been good quality stuff, and I appreciate you listening to us. But
So another question, would you guys be open to like retail on the main level and residential above if you wanted to do a condo?
like a mixed use type of, I think we've got different opinions on that one. I have no problem with mixed use if it's done correctly. But if it's not done correctly and it's kind of pigeon-toed into it,
right.
I want it to be successful. I don't want to see blight, and that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I know that there's definitely more money to be in on the residential right now, but I looked all over this valley, and anytime you've got new development going in, like general RV, everywhere around it is also, I mean, just looking up there at what's going on in Falcon or with Falcon for Roy, that whole area is going to be changing quite drastically over the next 10, 20 years. So I'm hoping that, well, we won't get that level, we can at least do something as good, but that's just me. I'll be quiet. Sorry, I ramble.
Lance, what would be the best suggestion for them to do?
I think maybe withdraw this application and come back with general plan amendment to go to commercial, change that.
But you're saying we wouldn't have to do a general plan amendment, we could do a development agreement for it?
Still gonna have to be rezoned
Rezone to what, to
to
commercial?
commercial,
Okay.
CH or whatever we decide, yeah. Wayne, did you have a comment?
It's kind of a moot point at this point because I think we're all on the same page. I was just going to comment. My thoughts go to, we have very limited land use authority as a council. We, zone change being one of those, the development agreement. As I looked at the application of the R5 on this particular property, I do think it's too dense. If I was to back calculate what the exact site plan that they provided is, it's more of an R6.1, which our public does not want anything more than R5. But I do think a flex-based commercial is probably more of appropriate use for the area. But what's before us today is not a site development, but a zone change, and I'm not in favor of an R5 zone change.
Sorry, add to that a little bit. If we do a change to flex space though, I would prefer it to be a development agreement so that we have some control over what it actually is.
Yeah, once we make a zone change.
Not just
we
a
lose-
zone change.
Yeah, once we make a zone change, we lose control. It's all back on planning commission, but we do have the development agreement, and that would be our one, ability to see what's there.
And even if we were to do this, I would want to do it not just doing the zone change and then waiting to see what you bring to us.
Yeah,
It would
no,
want to
for
be
sure.
with plans,
For sure.
with some type of development agreement.
So we looked at making a flex zone, put quite a bit of time and effort into it, and we kind of backed off of that and decided that maybe flex zone isn't what we wanted. Joe came up with and found where some cities had come up with a neighborhood commercial, is that what it's called?
And I'm sure you've seen me out there, neighborhood commercial.
Neighborhood
Ogden's big on that,
commercial,
and
we
a few of
felt
the
like
others.
that neighborhood commercial would probably be a better fit there. So you might look into what exists in the neighborhood commercial.
Okay. Okay.
So then we probably look,
Do we continue this?
so do we just continue?
If we continue, aren't we held to a specific turnaround time?
No, you're not, because it's not a public hearing, it's
But the request is a zone change to R5. That was very specific. So is that what we're moving on? It's either a zone 5 or it's not a zone 5.
I don't think you're moving at all. You're just either continuing or tabling the item without action. If
But if it
the applicant demands that you vote on it, then you would, but I don't think they
Couldn't
are.
he just withdraw?
Yes,
I think that would probably be what you'd want to do. Just withdraw.
Probably would want us to do that before we say no to it.
Withdraw the application with the R5 zone.
Well, or amend it. Yes, I would say withdraw would be the clean way to do it. You could also just say we'd like to amend our rezone request and add an additional general plan amendment. And then come back with those things.
Okay.
Keep this one active, but say you are.
Okay.
change some modifications.
Yeah, so.
I would think we would re-advertise to whatever they changed would be significant enough. But
Agreed.
We keep going.
Okay, that'd be perfect. So request that you leave it active.
Continue it.
Continue,
Continue
we'll
it.
just continue. Okay,
Okay, Mayor, I move to continue ordinance 2024-09, amending zoning map change multiple parcels from ag to multifamily residential R5.
Seconded.
okay, motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 I did.
Jeremy,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen.
Thank you.
Thanks for the conversation.
You bet.
okay, annexation petition by Ricky and Mia Smith, partial 13-041-0028 at approximately 8,000 south, 2,800 east. Ricky, you want to come up? go ahead and tell us kind of what you got in mind.
It's approximately 2.8 acre piece at the end of 2800 East on the east bench there. It was my grandmother's land that's been split up between her children. My father had that piece that was on the end. In the mid-70s, the other siblings of my father built houses on it, dug a well. The well went dry. They annexed all of their pieces into the city somewhere in the late 70s. And my dad never annexed it into the city. He's since passed away. We purchased that land from the family and would like to build a single family house on the property. Davis County has changed their regulations to where you need 20 acres to build either 10 acres or 20 acres on unincorporated land. So when I went to the county, they suggested we come to the city and annex that piece into the city. It is part of the general annexation plan to be annexed into the city and used as, I believe, residential low, which allowed for approximately 2 to 3 houses per acre, somewhere in there. And so that's what we'd like to do, is just annex that 2.8 acre piece into the city. Utilities are all at the corner of the property, power and gas. The city has a sewer, a manhole adjacent to the property in the middle of the street there. Also, the fire hydrant is directly across from the property. So city water, sewer, and fire suppression is close, at least adjacent to the property. Originally, that piece of property, all those properties along 2800 East were 3 acres. And we deeded, or the family deeded, approximately 0.2 acres to the city for the road that's up there now. And the property sits where the relief temporary road is built through where they're doing the construction on that pipeline. So that access road comes up and would face directly into our property on the east side of 2800 East. And that's kind of what we have in mind.
So it's probably worth mentioning too, that those properties on that east side, there has been 2 other owners there that have split off a half acre and sold it or to a family member or someone to build on. And so we've got 2 others that we've already allowed that to happen, what he's trying to get them here. So probably worth mentioning that. Yeah. Okay. I have questions for Ricky.
Mine are actually more for the city. Do we have close fire hydrant there? I mean, it sounds like
Right across the street.
right across the street. So, yeah.
All the utilities are right there.
Yeah.
One clarification, this is just for lot 13-041-0028. I noticed there's another lot with your name just behind it. That's not included in
It's
this.
not included.
Is there an explanation as to why not, or?
It is in a different,
And on this parcel here, we're just splitting a half acre off from it.
no, I believe we're annexing the whole.
The whole,
the
you're
2.8
the whole
acres, correct.
2.8. Oh, I thought, that's why I mentioned the other, because
Yeah, no, through all the discussions, we figured it was easier to do the
just to do
entire
the whole
piece
piece.
than
Okay.
take off a half an
Okay.
acre.
So the 2.8, not the 4 that's
Not
behind it?
4.1 or whatever
Okay,
it is.
thank you.
That is in a different annexation zone,
Okay.
and it's not necessary to annex. It can stay
Okay.
county unincorporated.
Okay.
Thank you.
The only question I have is this is the first time I've been in this sort of discussion, so forgive my ignorance, but maybe this is directed at Jamie more than anybody else, but from annexation perspective and process, like what's best practice when a city is trying to decide what property to annex and what property not to?
So before any property can be annexed into the city, it has to be part of the city's annexation plan. It appears from the presentation that this property is within the annexation plan, and so the city had marked it for annexation. There are some other technical things that you'll want staff to review to make sure that the application meets all of the state's criteria. It's a pretty detailed statute, so it'll take them a little bit of time just to go through it and make sure it fits. What you would act on today is just to accept the petition. And then staff would conduct its review. We'd make sure that it complies. And then we'll tee it up for the various hearings and things that are required before you annex property.
Got it. Thank you very much.
I know that Ricky and Mia have been working on this for a significant amount of time. So this is just our first step, is to accept the petition. Do we know how long it would be before they'd be able to go through? I mean, have they completed the rest of those steps as far as we know? You can't speak to that.
Review all the documents and certify it up to 30 days before the next part of the process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor, make a motion that we accept the petition for annexation by Ricky and Mia Smith, parcel 13-0-41-0028 at approximately 8,000 south, 2,800 east.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the city.
Not yet.
Okay, now go into reports. Any new business anyone has? You would like to bring up? I've got one item, and let me get that out of the way now. So this needs to be read in a councilman meeting pertaining to the Central Weber Sewer Improvement District. A notice has been issued that they're proposing a tax increase. Increase property tax by 8.86%. They'll be having a public hearing on August the 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Administration Building at 2618 West Pioneer Road in Marriott, Slaterville, Utah. Anyone that would like to attend that, you're invited to attend that meeting. Needed to be announced. So with that, then we'll go into committee reports. Council. Blair, do you want to start with?
Sure, because I have nothing to report. Public Works is continuing on. We actually made some contract modifications last week I'm trying to get the timing of the building arriving. The building is out there a ways, but we're going to try to, as discussed in that meeting, we are going to try to speed up the process so that they can get started on the footings and foundations with doing a different structural review and a few things like that, so that we can be ready when the building gets here and not be delayed any longer. So we're trying to keep it on track and still moving forward, but it is, just so you know, it will be later on in next year. It's not going to be done by the end of the year.
No.
Quick question on that. Do they have any dust mitigation going on over there?
The last I saw, they had a water truck over there. I haven't watched them use it. I saw one on site. On the lower road, they haven't needed any dust. They've been sinking out of sight.
Yeah.
But they do have a water truck over there.
Okay.
So we can bring that up though in the meeting if you've had anybody make comments.
Just as I've driven by.
Right off of South Weaver Drive, it's a dust bowl.
Yeah.
And so they probably need to either put some 3-inch minus or something down there because it's going to get muddy right there, because it's pretty dusty right there. We'll bring that up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have anything, but I will let Shaylee do her plug when it's returned for our events committee.
Okay. Shaylee, yes. You got a skip for us?
Did you see the one with my daughter?
I saw the one.
She is the best. She got candy after that, I promise.
She should have.
A couple of things. So Thursday is going to be our next concert in the park. It's at Central Park at 6 p.m. And this one's kind of cool. We have Michelle Clark's brother-in-law performing. And he's great. I looked at videos and stuff and he's awesome. But on top of that, we have our kid entrepreneur market. We have 16 booths in total of kids who want to sell stuff, which is so awesome. So if we can come out and support these kids, that would be great. We would love that. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Country Fair Days. So I am in charge of getting candy. We're well on our way of doing that. But I did talk to Tawny just about 30 minutes ago, actually. And she said the one thing that she's having trouble with is finding somebody to be in charge of kid activities, like kid games for an hour, hour and a half. So if you know of anybody that would be interested in that, or if the council can help with that, that would be awesome. She did tell me that you guys are in charge of the movie in the park. She said that she talked to Angie about that. So that's all I really have, but really exciting. It's going to be a busy few weeks. So.
Okay.
Has anyone talked, I mean, I'm assuming the Poff family's still doing dinner? Are we sure, are we serving with, I mean, I'm out of town, sorry, but I'm committing the rest of the council. But I just know we have in the past. I just didn't want to not show up or something.
I can ask her about that
Okay.
if you'd like. Yeah.
And I don't know if that has to be asked to Mike or somebody else. But
Yeah. You
See if
wanna-
we're serving.
You want to take that, Shailene, let us know.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll talk to Tawny.
Okay. Thank you.
And we are still in the parade, right?
Yep.
Yes.
front and center,
And we know whose trailer we're using,
trailers at my house.
and we know
And I
the
have
straw that
I
we
have the
have.
banners and I have the hay for you.
You
Okay.
bring-
I'll put a blanket on it for you.
Well, I was just wondering if we could do the hay differently this time. We had it straight down the middle. I'm thinking probably 2 or 3 high on both sides.
Negative.
We can still have battlements that come
No.
down, so, you know. Well, they can, they just have to be accurate.
Are we providing our own candy to throw out?
So she is, the city's
city's
getting
providing
candy.
that.
If
City's
you would like
providing-
to bring some extra or something, that's not always a bad idea. We always run out. So,
All right, I just wasn't sure what the.
but the city last year did candy and it worked out great and they're doing it again this year.
Okay, Joel.
Nothing new from the different committees. The one thing that I did have was from a citizen who had questions on the enforcement, and I've already talked to Lance on that, so
Okay.
we'll get it taken care of.
Jeremy,
Nothing new on my side.
Wayne.
No committee reports, but I did have one new business item I
Okay.
apologize for, and that is, there is a day of service that's coming up. I don't know if you've heard about that. And the question was asked to me, does the city have any needs that they could benefit from 100 and some volunteers who will be willing to provide service? I think there are several wards and or stakes that might want to cling on to something like that. So it's just an open question. I think it's happening. I don't know if it's August or September, but they're supposed to set aside a day. And
Yeah.
anything you have, there's a workforce out there that would be willing to help out.
I am sure the Parks Department could come up with something.
I didn't know
I
if
mean,
the
last
fire,
time we did the space that didn't get finished between the dog park and the
Yeah.
Fossa grounds. We
They had
worked
to
on
burn
that
it.
and one other park.
well, the one idea I had, I don't know if it's necessary. We used to paint the fire hydrants and the curbs in front of the fire hydrants. I don't know if that's a city need right now to go around there and paint all those. The city wanted to provide the paint. We can go out there and get them painted. I didn't know what other ideas you might have out there.
The only other idea I would have would be bus stops, and I don't even know if that's like a city, if we own those.
No, we don't. Yeah.
We don't. They, as my dad would say, they're looking pretty haggard, Merle, so
What was
maybe
that?
we don't.
The bus stops.
Bus stops, yeah.
Especially the one up by.
Mhm.
Anyway, I just posed the question, and if we
Well,
get some
we can talk
feedback, we
about
can certainly.
What was the date on that?
I don't have the date
Oh,
off the top of my head, sorry. I can get,
think it's September, but I'm not.
I think it's September as well.
It'd be good to start getting that plan.
We did actually start talking about it and how we were going to promote it, trying to get more people than last time. Last time we had a pretty good turnout, but the more people that we can get involved in it, the better, and the more things that we can get done. But I think we talked to, I may have mentioned it to Shay. I'm not going to say that I have, but Parks is looking for some things that need to be done that we could definitely use the help on. So I will pass it on.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. No other business. We'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Hey, before we do that, sorry.
I got a motion on the table, sorry.
The gentleman who came in about a lot of that crime and hitting that, could we just make sure that Dave gets a hold of Lieutenant Gary and at least talks about what's going on with that? See how much the sheriff's department has been involved in it, and just kind of see what's going on. I don't even know if there is anything that the city can do. Definitely
Get
not.
his name, Lance. Crandall, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Just.
But yeah, if we could check on
Yeah, it'd
that.
be good to.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joel. Sorry. Okay,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a good evening, everyone.